If I had under an hour to share with my younger self how to become a millionaire faster, this is exactly what I would tell him. Recently, I was interviewed on a podcast where I was asked to share how I made $32 million with an online business, and the host actually asked some of the best questions I have ever been asked on a podcast, and what I shared with him was pretty much what I would tell my younger self. So I edited the recording, cleaned it up a bit so it's easy to watch, and decided to share it with you here on the channel. Please enjoy. When I wake up in the morning, I don't think to myself, man, you have great time management skills. Dan, you can overcome any challenge. Dan, you're so good at this, you're so driven. I think, man, I'm wasting so much time. My time management sucks. I'm not that driven. I need to have bigger goals. Like, I learned a long time ago that the people who are hard workers because they think they're lazy. That's what makes them a hard worker. The people that are lazy are the people that think they're hard workers. That's what makes them lazy. I've never really tried to tell myself, oh, you're so good at this or you're so good at that. If I sit there and I always tell myself, you're the best, well, then I'm never gonna try to improve, and I'm gonna get overconfident, and I'm gonna not put out great results. But if I tell myself I suck, and I only tell myself I suck, then I'm never gonna actually take action and do the thing, because I'm gonna think I suck and it's just not gonna work and I'm gonna get depressed. However, if I mix the two, then I'm gonna have a period where I vastly improve, and then I'm gonna be like, man, wait a minute, I really am good at this stuff. I need to launch this thing. I need to do this thing. I need to put myself out there and do this thing again. I'll just tell you a funny story. I recently took several trips. One was to Saudi Arabia, one was to Pakistan. And we have a presentation that a sales presentation that runs on autopilot, and it sells a software that we have. And it does really good numbers, 6 figures a month, just from my Instagram when I post Instagram Reels. Well over $100,000 a month in sales just from me talking about it on Instagram. While I was traveling, I didn't post anywhere near the amount of reels. So I get back and I look at our sales numbers, and we had probably the worst sales week that we've had in a long time. And I start saying to myself, man, maybe this sales presentation isn't that good. Maybe it sucks, right? Maybe it's just not converting anymore, or maybe the market's changing, or maybe I've lost my touch, or maybe the market isn't there. And I start coming up with all these reasons. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to come up with a new offer. Oh my gosh, I got to come up with a new business. All these horrible thoughts, and they're the same horrible thoughts I had when I wasn't making any money when I was first starting in this industry. $32 million in sales later, which is, I think that's a lot for an online business. I still have those same thoughts. You see, people think that the thoughts go away and that's what makes you a millionaire. No, the thoughts are still there. The same thoughts are still there. You just react to them differently. I come back and I'm freaking out, and then I'm like, wait a minute, let me just post some reels. So I post 2 reels in a day. We immediately did $5,000 in sales that day just from those 2 reels, and then another $3,000 the next morning from the same reels, just more views. I say to myself, okay, so all that stress you put yourself through was BS. You just didn't post enough. I go through the same stuff that the beginner goes through, and then I come to the same stupid realization, like, oh, dude, you're just not posting enough, right? And so these are the things that you deal with in the entrepreneurial journey, and they will never go away. What changes is how you react to those things. In the beginning, when you're on the come up, you think you need motivation, and you do. You do need to get motivated to take action. You need to strike when the iron is hot, when you have an idea and you feel emotion and you feel it, and it's really important to you at that moment. You need to take action, yada, yada, yada. But as you go up in the business and you go from, well, I want to make 10 grand a month to 100 grand a month to now $1 million a month, and all the way up, you realize that at the higher levels, you don't need motivation. Motivation doesn't even really come into play. In fact, if you require motivation, you will not make a lot of money, because the thing that makes you a lot of money is not motivation. It's discipline. Discipline is the ability to take an action with or without motivation. So think about it like going to the gym. If you only went to the gym when you felt like it, you'd barely ever go to the gym. I spent years trying to get my body in shape, and I couldn't because I only went to the gym when I felt like it. It was until I realized that, wait a minute, I don't need more motivation. I need discipline, because if I have discipline, I will go to the gym whether I feel like it or not, and that is when my body completely changed. Just last night, I had some calls. I took my son somewhere. My mother's visiting here in Dubai from America. Costa Rica. She lives in Costa Rica now. The day just ran super late. I still needed to do my cardio. I don't miss my cardio every day. I just don't, because I have discipline. So I got on my bike at 10:30 at night when I should be in bed, and I hopped on and I went around for an hour, and I got my hour of cycling in at 10:30 at night. Why? It's not because, oh yeah, well, you could have done it tomorrow. Maybe you could have done a double session tomorrow. You know what? You're tired. It's going to affect your sleep. Blah, 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 excuse. It's because if I let myself miss it, it's not about how much leaner I would have been or any of that. It's about the fact that I let myself down up here. I gave myself an excuse. And if I gave myself an excuse to miss that cardio session, well, now that is going to spread like a cancer, like a virus, like a disease across my brain, because you do some things like you do everything. Think about it this way. If you had a friend and that friend constantly told you they were going to do something, and here and there they didn't do it, would you trust that friend for very long?
No.
No, you wouldn't. Well, guess what? Who is your best friend? Who is the person you spend the most time with? Yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you make promises to yourself and you break them, now you're going to begin to not trust yourself. And if you can't trust yourself, you're going to have a horrible relationship with yourself. And if you have a horrible relationship with yourself, like anybody, you are not going to achieve great things with that person. If you have a horrible relationship with your wife, you're not going to achieve a great marriage, great things with your wife. If you have a horrible relationship with your business partner, you're not going to achieve great things with them. If you have a horrible relationship with your friends, you're not going to achieve great things with them. If you have a horrible relationship with yourself, you will not achieve great things on your own. So you must always keep your promises to yourself, whether you feel like it or not, whether you have motivation or not, and that is called discipline. What is the internet? It is a screen that you look at. And when you look at the screen asks you to do things, and you either do them or you don't. Think about that, right? You're scrolling on Instagram, you see a reel, and basically what is your screen doing? It's asking you to watch the reel, and you make a decision. I'll watch the reel, or I'll swipe to the next. You get an email, you see a subject line. What is that subject line asking you to do? It's asking you to read the email. You can choose to read the email, or you can skip it, delete it, whatever. You see a sales page for a product. Maybe it's a beauty product. Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a pill, whatever. The sales page asks you to buy it. And so what the internet is simply a screen that constantly asks you to do things, and you either do them or you don't. If you have a product to sell or a service to sell, and you master the art of asking people on the screen to buy the thing, and you're good at getting more people or enough people to say yes, you become a millionaire. You don't complicate it further than that. And I'll just tell you the quick kind of backstory. I owned several regular real-world businesses before I ever got into the internet. I had a cotton candy stand. I had an airbrush tattoo business where I went to carnivals and I had a booth. I had an Italian ice cart, did a lot of like vending, carnival event vending. I had 2 restaurants. I learned things like sales. I learned things like marketing, and I learned how to get customers for these businesses. But at the time, because I was young, I wasn't very good at the actual business part, paying taxes, accounting, bookkeeping, money management. I wasn't good at any of this stuff. And so what would happen is I'd make money with the business, and then the business would kind of crumble because I wasn't really good at it. I built up this bar and restaurant. I sold it for a $300,000 profit. When I got the money, I made an investment, and that investment went bad. And so now here I am broke. I have a brand new wife. My wife's from Turkey. We're sitting here. We have no income. I had a T-shirt company at the time that I did on the side. So I would get a $500 order for T-shirts, and that would basically feed us for the next month. My wife says to me, she's like, you're really good at this whole like getting customers thing. Why don't you like just do that for other businesses and just charge them a fee, and then you don't have to worry about like running a business. You're just doing the part that you're good at. That's what I did. I started a marketing agency, and within a month, I was making great money. Within a few months, I was making like 25 grand a month. And all I was doing was I was going to businesses and I was creating marketing for them, creating the screen that asked them to buy, and getting them more customers, and I was charging a monthly fee for that. I had real estate agents that I was charging a couple grand a month. I had doctors and chiropractors that I was charging a couple grand a month. And you know, you have 10 clients at a couple grand a month, that's 20 grand a month. Eventually, I started realizing that I really loved this. I really loved the art of knowing exactly what to say to get people to buy. And so I started expanding my products and services. I did copywriting events, I did seminars, I did all kinds of stuff, and then it just blew up. And our first year in business, we did 2.9 million. Since I've started my company, I've done 32 million. I've even on 3 separate occasions made $1 million in a day by holding an event, speaking at the event. We call this one-to-many selling, making a pitch for an offer, and doing over $1 million in sales in a day. I'd done that 3 times. This wild ride all came down to one very simple thing: knowing what to say. Imagine for a moment that you were walking down the street, right? And have you ever had lemonade? You ever had lemonade?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're walking down the street. I don't have lemonade. It's too much sugar. But you're walking down the street, and you got the first lemonade stand and the second lemonade stand. Now, let's just say for a moment that the first lemonade stand says freshly squeezed lemonade, and the second lemonade stand says yellow water with sugar. Which lemonade do you buy, 1 or 2?
1.
1, okay, but hold on. It's the same. It's the same lemonade. They got it from the same supplier. Why would you buy 1 instead of 2? Same product.
I guess the description, the way that you described it.
Exactly. You chose number 1, not because they had a better product, not because of any reason other than one reason and one reason only. They chose better words to describe their product. The truth of the matter is, people don't buy good products, they buy good sounding products. Mm-hmm. How many times have you bought a product that sounded good and it wasn't that good, but it sounded great? And how many times have you bought a product that you bought it, you thought you'd try it out, it didn't sound great, oh, it ended up being pretty darn good? And then there's times, which I believe the best business is when you have a good product and you make it sound good. And that's the problem. Most business owners, they do have good products, they just don't know how to make them sound good. Not very many people get to experience their products and how good they are. And so that's why they will either learn marketing or they will hire a marketer to make what they do sound good. When you're just getting started, I always recommend become a marketer. Why? Because if you become a marketer, you get to learn how to make products sound good, which means down the line, if you ever start your own product, your own offer, then you know how to make it sound good. When I got started, I actually had to learn copywriting, marketing. I had to learn this stuff. I had to read dozens and dozens of books. But now, because it's 2024, 2025, we have artificial intelligence, we have AI. If you know how to use AI, you can actually get AI to write better marketing than somebody who is a beginner who has studied marketing for 6 to 12 months. Heck, you can even get it to produce better marketing than a professional marketer because the stuff's just getting so advanced. I didn't have that. I had to literally write every single line of copy that made me money by hand. Imagine that. And I still made $32 million. So if I can do it, you can do it. I don't know what is. Discipline does cost something. It costs comfort. It is not comfortable to pick up a book and read it instead of watching TV. What you're actually trading for the discipline is comfort. You're saying, I want this little bit of comfort now. I'm going to take it instead of having discipline. But here's the crazy part. When you have discipline, you get a massively larger amount of comfort later. A few years ago, my business was doing fantastic. I was buying real estate. I had just crazy excess. Businesses and the economy, they have seasons. I thank God mine, for my entire career, for the most part, has been up. But there has been times where it's been way up, just stupid money. And one time, I bought a $2 million yacht cash. And I don't say this to brag because honestly, it wasn't a great investment. I ended up selling it and putting it in real estate later. Getting on your own yacht with a full-time crew with a chef, going from Miami to the Exuma, Bahamas, anchoring in the Exumas where there's crystal clear water where you can see 20 feet down, clear as day, and having your own personal private chef, that is an extreme level of comfort. But the only reason I was able to achieve that extreme level of comfort is because I gave up the small comfort and I replaced it with discipline. And that discipline was able to bear incredible fruit. The side note is that eventually you get a little bored with it and you're like, whatever, I should just invest this in real estate. I don't need all this. You know, you do it and you're like, all right, whatever. But the point is, maybe for you it's not the yacht. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a plane, a car, a house, an investment portfolio, living in multiple countries, traveling the world without living anywhere, maybe full-time travel. Whatever it is, it costs money. And if you're willing to increase your discipline, you will increase massively your comfort later. But if you take the small amount of comfort now, you give up the discipline, which means you give up the massive amount of comfort later. Here's a recurring theme in life where people struggle to get rich. They're always unwilling to give up the small thing to get the big thing. I remember when I delivered pizza, my goal, now listen carefully to this, my goal was to make $500 a week. I thought if I could make $500 a week, my life would be pretty good. And so I built up $500 a week to be a lot of money. And so what actions did I take? Well, I took all the actions that would lead me to make $500 a week. I asked for extra shifts at Pizza Hut. I tried to get the day shifts where the schools would do a $1,000 pizza order and I'd get a $100 tip. I tried to make friends with my customers so they would give me bigger tips over time. I tried to figure out better routes to take to make deliveries faster. I tried to get better shifts. I put all this time and energy into trying to achieve that goal of $500 a week. So do you know how much I made at maximum? Do you know the most I made during that time? Do you know how much it was? $500 per week. Okay. Because I set my goal at $500 a week. I didn't set it at 500,000. I didn't set it at 5 million because see, if I set it at 5 million, what would I do? I would grab book. I would, instead of worrying about what route I take to make another $50 that week, I would grab a book written by a billionaire and read it. I would develop self-discipline. I would learn skills that solve bigger problems than making somebody go from hungry to not hungry with a greasy pizza. I would take the time to learn the things and do the things and cultivate the things I needed to do to make 5 million, not 500 a week. When you build up in your mind, oh, this amount, it's so big, then you think it's big. And so you only take the actions required to get to that level. But if you set your goals higher, you take the actions required to hit the higher goal. I remember when I thought $50,000 was a lot of money to invest in coaching. I remember when I thought $2,000 a month was a lot to invest in a video editor. I remember when I thought, paying $30,000 for a tax plan was a crazy amount of money. My income was here. But when I decided to go, wait a minute, that's 50 grand isn't that much money. 2 grand a month isn't that much money. Why am I sweating that? $30,000 isn't that money. Guess what happened? I invested $50,000 into twice. And from that investment, I was able to make multiple millions from speeches. I invested $30,000 into a tax plan by a high-level CPA, and I was able to save over $400,000 in taxes just that year. I invested the $2,000 a month into a video editor, and the reels and the videos that he produced ended up making us $200,000 in sales every month. I was able to make the bigger money by letting go of the small money. Because when you build that amount up in your head to be a mountain, then the stepping stones you need to take to get up that mountain, you make those big. And then you can't even you can't even climb up one step. You're never gonna get to the top of the mountain. I'll tell you this, a friend of mine, he describes this very well, and he uses an analogy about how they catch monkeys in Africa. Have you ever heard how professional monkey catchers catch monkeys?
No, never.
Dude, it's the craziest, most simple thing. They dig a hole in the ground. They put a banana in the hole. Then they put a cone on top of the hole so that if you reach into the cone to get the banana, you can't get the banana out because it hits the cone and you can't get it out, right? So what happens is they just go and sit in a lawn chair and wait. The monkeys go up to the hole. They reach in to the cone and grab the banana. They try to get the banana out, but they can't. Now, the monkey catcher simply gets up out of his chair, casually walks over to the monkey, and picks up the monkey and catch it. And the whole time, the monkey sees the monkey catcher coming, but they want that banana, so they keep tugging and they can't get it out. And the whole time, the monkey could have just let go of the banana and ran off. But the monkey didn't want to let go of the small thing, the single banana, to gain the big thing, his freedom. And we do that all the time. We won't let go of the small thing to get the big thing. But the thing is, we're human beings. We can't behave like monkeys. And in this analogy, the millionaires are the humans and the monkeys are the 99%. Rich people will always let go of the small thing to gain the big thing. Don't be the monkey. Don't be the monkey. So product market fit is basically where a market really wants your product, okay? Your product solves a problem that causes a major pain point in the market's life. So and this is how you become a millionaire. You find people that have a problem, that are willing to pay to eliminate that problem, and then you sell them the solution. That is it. Where we go wrong is we try to sell what we want, what we're interested in, what we're passionate about, rather than what the market wants. And then we complain when the market doesn't want it. It would be like if you went to Aruba and tried to sell sweaters because you just like sweaters, and nobody wants a sweater in Aruba because it's 98 freaking degrees. Then you go, oh, you guys suck. You don't care about sweaters. Yeah, of course they don't care about sweaters. They live in Aruba. Stop selling sweaters. But I love sweaters. I'm so passionate about sweaters. Great. Wonderful. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Reality is reality. Life is life. People in Aruba don't buy sweaters. Get over it. Sell something else. The end, right? So that's like the real harsh, direct advice I have to give you. But to give you more systemized advice, if you're just getting started and you want a way to sort of visualize this, I'll tell you two things. The first, I call it skills, problems, people, okay? All you have to do is you can follow along at home and do this. Take a piece of paper and write 3 columns. Skills, problems, people. Think of all the skills that you have and write them down, okay? Just write down all the skills you have, big or small. I know how to manage my books. I know how to lose weight. I know how to do this. I know how to do that, right? Then write down all the problems that skill could solve. So a problem could be, let's say you know how to lose weight. The problem, I pay too much in taxes. I pay too much in expenses. I don't know where my expenses are. I have problems managing money in my business. I can't budget properly. I make money, but I'm overspending. Once you have this big list of problems, which should be a lot bigger than the list of skills, then you move to people and you say, okay, who in the world has these problems? And then you should get an even bigger list because, look, there's multiple people that might need to lose weight after they have a baby. New moms, that's one of them, right? Or maybe career women. Heck, you could even get so specific as models. Oh, I'm a model. I make money from, looking good, but I had a baby. You just write down all of the people that have these problems that you have the skill to solve. And then you say, okay, of all of these people, who has the most ability to pay? Who is the most capable of paying, and who would stand to gain the most impact in their life if I solve their problem? Who am I taking the most pain away from their life when I solve their problem? Make a list and you order the list from top to bottom, from the most painful, the most capable to pay, to the least, okay? And then you just look at the top 3, the top 5, whatever, and you go, okay, which one of these people am I the most passionate to serve, that I would like to serve? And then you say, okay, well, that's who I'm gonna serve. This is the problem I'm gonna help them solve, and I'm gonna use this skill to do it. Boom, there's your business. And because you've designed it properly from the beginning, you don't even have to think about product market fit, because the way you just designed it is you can't do it this way and not have a product market fit. That's the literal entire crux of this exercise. Let's say, oh, I don't have any skills. Okay, fine. Pick a skill that you're interested in and learn it, and then do the process again. Here's the other thing. This is the caveat to this. This is where most people really get it wrong. This is people who have too many skills, who know too much. Because you know those people, right? Oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. And they get confused with their business. This is a bowl, okay? Now in this bowl, you're gonna cook a meal, some sort of meal. And up here is your kitchen cupboard, your cabinets, right? Here's your cabinets, all right? Here is all the ingredients. Would you go into your kitchen and would you take out every ingredient, chocolate, peanuts, spaghetti sauce, salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, meat, oranges, all of this stuff in here and dump them in the bowl and mix it up? Would you do that?
I hope not. No, I wouldn't.
Here's what happens to an entrepreneur. The cupboards are their life. The ingredients inside the cupboards are all the things they've learned and the skills they've acquired. For some crazy reason, most entrepreneurs try to dump everything in the bowl, and it tastes like crap and no one wants it. You have to have the discipline to say, I'm gonna create this meal, which means that even though I have all these ingredients at my disposal, I'm only gonna choose the ones I need, put them in the bowl, and make the meal that people will buy. So you have to have the discipline to take only a portion of what you know and what you can do, put it in a bowl, and that is how you get product market fit. It comes back to discipline.
Dan, thank you so much. It's been a real joy to meet you.